What's up, y'all? So most Christians, they ask the question, you know, can you keep all 613 laws blameless? It's impossible to keep them. You see, so trying to keep the commandments, you falling out of grace when you try to keep, the law of Moses. Let's look at it. All right, we're in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 16. One of my favorite scriptures. It says, "For a just man is he that keepeth the commandments. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again." See, so even though, we keeping commandments, you see, now 613 laws, you have to realize that most of those laws dealt with the temple. You see, we don't have a temple anymore. So the sisters, they have a set of laws that they have to keep. You see, they're not having to deal with the laws that pertain to the man and vice versa. You see, so really it's not even 613 laws. So a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again. See, he don't say, well, it's impossible, to keep these laws. I failed. You see, so why even try? Why pick myself up just to fall again? You see, that's a lazy spirit. That is a defeated spirit. You see, it says right here, "But the wicked shall fall into mischief." That's the Christian church. The Christian church says you can't keep it. It's impossible. But Christ himself told the woman, the adulterer, he said, "Go and sin no more." He didn't say, it's impossible for you to keep your legs closed. Just go ahead and keep sinning because I'm here. Grace is here, so why try to attempt to keep your legs closed? You see, I had a brother tell me that, if he knew his daughter was sexually active, he would hand her the birth control pills. That's a Christian. That's a Christian mindset. You see, instead of saying, hey, you're not ready. You see, you're not ready. You're not old enough. You 15 years old. You need to hold out and wait. You see, just give her the birth control pills. That's what the Christian church will do. They will give you condoms in the Christian church. You see, I dang near passed out when I heard it. They are handing out birth control and condoms in the Christian church. Let's get another scripture. All right, we're in Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 20. "For there is not a just man." Once again, the just man is he that's keeping the commandments. "For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good." When you go to Romans chapter 7, the law is good. You see, "that doeth good and sinneth not." All right, so we're in the book of Romans chapter 7, verse 7, or verse 12, because I made the statement that those who are keeping the law are the just. You see, it says right here, "Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, just." See, so you are just when you're keeping God's laws. Just and good. You see? All right, we're back in Ecclesiastes. Back in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 20. For there is not a just man. The just man is those who are keeping the commandments. There's not a just man upon the earth that doeth good. We just read where it says in Romans chapter 7, the law is holy, just and good, and sinneth not. So, can we keep the commandments? Yes, we can keep the commandments. But we are going to stumble. We're going to fall. But those who continuously get back up on the horse, those are the ones that the Most High is looking for. Those are his elect. That's mentioned in Revelations. All right, let's go to Matthew 14, verse 22. It says, and straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. So when you read in Matthew chapter 12, it talks about how, or 14 rather, how he fed the multitude. You see, go back and read it. And verse 23, and when he had sent the multitude away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. Now the disciples were already in the ship. They were already crossing the sea to the other side. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. The Messiah was there alone, but the ship was now in the midst of the sea. They were already halfway across, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. So Jesus crossed over, walking on the surface of this sea that's tossed and turned. There's waves. Just imagine you at the beach and there's a storm coming, and you see a man, a dark-skinned man with an afro walking across the ocean. Just imagine it. Look at verse 26. This is what they saw. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. So if you see someone walking on the ocean and it's dark, you gonna cry out. You gonna pack up and get ready to go. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? So why did I read this passage in Matthew 14 when Peter was on the water? And Yahushua tells him, you have little faith. You see, because most Christians have little faith. They say we can't keep these commandments. You see, Peter actually got out of the boat, and when he began to sink, Yahushua was there to rescue him. That's what grace is. When we begin to sink, Yahushua is there to pull us back up. So the excuse that we can't do it, that means you have little faith in Yahushua. Shalom.